Well, it's been another month, so let's do our February indoor tropical plant update. This is the toughest month, so if your things aren't looking the best, don't worry. January to February, it's the hardest, the coldest, the darkest, but we're through it. Our plants are looking pretty good, so let me bring in, show you some updates, touch on some maintenance. We're almost home free. So we'll start with the lantana tree. Still looking pretty good. Actually, since I moved it away from the window, it hasn't grown that much. So there's been very little maintenance as far as the pruning, but it's looking very healthy. All the leaves looking nice and green. Moving on to the Fiesta hibiscus. This has been the slowest one to recover. You can still see it's getting some yellow leaves. I have to pick off, but the new growth is there, nice and green. But just so you know, not all of them rebound that quickly. These two have looked really good from the start. Look at look how much that's grown, that stem. So don't stress. Yours are still losing some leaves like this. Now to the topiaries, which have just been thriving. Look at this. They got another double bloom. With those flowers and buds ready to come. So the topiaries, again, they didn't do too much. So I'm not doing anything to them. But I did want to touch base on the legginess of them. You can see how much this one branch is stretched. And they're all like that. So these could be pruned. But what I warn you about is that you can see here, I got one bud ready to come, 2, 3, 4, 5 buds on here. So you have a decision to make. You can enjoy these buds inside or whenever they come out, and then prune this more towards the spring, but then you're going to have a little rebounding period. Or if you can sacrifice the flowers, you can prune this now so that it can regrow, send out its new shoots, and then when the spring rolls around, it'll just explode. So the decision is yours. Mine, just because I get so bummed in the winter, I'm gonna leave it because I want these flowers. I love coming in here and checking out flowers in the winter. And I'll do my pruning more towards spring. Here's the double hibiscus. Same thing, kind of shooting way too far out, but I got a bud, so I want to enjoy it. And here we have our red tiger abutilon. But if you remember and watch the previous videos, I had to make more cuttings. So I had to take all the flowers from the new growth, because that's where I take my cuttings. And that's why there's no flowers. If you do have one though, you should have some flowers or buds on it. And here I'm going to touch base on all of these like browning leaves. So you can see they do have the browning, but it's the old leaf. See here, we have the new leaves and they look nice and green. So you can either kind of pick these off or wait till they get more yellow and they're easier to pick off. But all of these browning leaves, you might see there's a few of them right there. Look at the new growth. Beautiful. So don't stress. It's all part of the process. And look at that. I missed a cutting. So I do get a flower. And then another bud coming right there. Onto the mandevillas. Don't look like much down here. I'll do that pruning in the spring. But all I care about is the vining. So look, that doesn't look like much, right? Wait for it. Wait for it. Look at that. Although this is going to be a huge pain. It's gripped onto my blinds, so now I'm going to have to unravel all of that and figure out a new way to support that. But that's some pretty good growth. It's going to be 8 feet high. And if you're wondering what these boxes and little packets we have are, these are the live predatory bugs. Did a video on that a little while ago you can check out. But all of the plants have it somewhere. And last but certainly not least, these are my Abutilon cuttings I was just talking about. So we take our humidity domes off. Looking pretty good. Nice and green. But these, you have to spray with water several times a day. You have to keep the leaves nice and moist because they don't have roots yet. And that's the only way this little cutting can absorb any water through its leaves. So 2, 3, 4 times a day. That looks good. We got to spray the inside of our dome. And that dome will keep it nice and humid and stop the evaporation so that it's not as extreme. And as you can see, all that maintenance we did every month leading up to this makes it easier as we go on. So there's very little I actually have to do today. There is a big problem with one of my topiaries though. So I'm gonna be doing a little reel on that. And if you have a topiary that's braided, you're gonna wanna check this one out. Until then, if you have any questions, let me know. Spring is right around the corner. We'll see you around.